We're following that breaking news that in a new Truth Social post, President Trump says he'll fund the critical SNAP food assistance program that 42 million Americans rely on once the, quote, radical left Democrats open the government. MSNBC's senior legal reporter, Lisa Rubin, is covering this for us. Lisa, a judge said something very different. And then the USDA just yesterday said we're going to at least partially fund this. So what is this?
I don't know what this is, but if I were looking at this as one of the plaintiffs in these lawsuits, I would certainly bring this to the attention of Judge John McConnell in Rhode Island. Already as it is, the plaintiffs to that lawsuit have notified him that the USDA hasn't complied with that order. And he directed the government unambiguously to either fund the full SNAP benefit by Monday, or to the extent that they were only going to rely on one pool of available funds and not the other, that they at least had to partially pay them by today. And now, of course, you have the president in this Truth Social post suggesting that his government is not going to pay any of the SNAP benefits until the shutdown is resolved. So,
even before that, what we were hearing from Trump administration officials was that it could be weeks or even months before, I guess they're claiming that it's logistically impossible for them to get the money out right away.
Correct. And that's what precipitated the plaintiffs going back to Judge McConnell and saying, hey, wait a second, your order was unambiguous. Pay in full by Monday, pay in part by Wednesday. And now they're saying that logistically speaking, they can't turn the spigot back on so easily that it will take them weeks. We want you to either enforce your order or at the very least force them through an additional order to do what they will not.
Greetings from the east to north to south, and this wicked ass west. The topic, money for war. The questions, why do you think they can find money for war, but cannot feed the poor? Let's get into it. I'm your host. I am the one.
Back in the day, my favorite rapper was Tupac Shakur. Tupac made a song, you can find money for war, but you cannot feed the poor. I think that was in Keep Your Head Up. And here we are now in 2025. This country can find money for war, but cannot feed its poor. Here's the issue with EBT cards. Now, of course, there is a lot of abuse, and we all know that. But I want you to think about this for a minute. There are legitimate people that are getting government assistance. But somehow this president won't take a little time and help the people in need. This president will not help the farmers or basic Americans that are in need. But from what I hear, he's building a $250 million add-on to the White House. And I hear this man boasting about how beautiful it's going to be. At the same time, people have no food to eat. Also, he's giving money to Israel. First thing he will tell you is America first. But this country prioritized Israel. Upon, I think, tens of billions of dollars go to Israel every year. Wow, that sounds like America first. I need to find a video about Argentina. They has been offered billions of dollars. Of course, they took it for whatever reason. I'll get into it in this video. Venezuela. He have warships off the coast of Venezuela. For what? What did they do to you? Now, you will hear the news reports. They have the most verified oil in the world. So I guess this president, he can find money to go over there and take it. Now let's talk about sports. They can find money for sports and recreation. The Buffalo Bills just built $1 billion stadium. Somehow they can find money for that here in the Cleveland area. They will build a new stadium. This stadium will cost at least $1 billion. Let's go to the next clip.
All new for you tonight, the cost of the Bills' new stadium appears to keep going up. Sources tell the Associated Press that the overrun costs on stadium construction are now approaching $300 million. That means the total price tag is almost $1.7 billion. In March of last year, the Bills initially estimated that it would cost $1.4 billion. That figure jumped to over $1.5 billion earlier this year.
In minutes, the Ohio Senate passed the final version of its $60 billion budget proposal, which will likely award $600 million in public funds to help the Browns build a dome stadium in Brook Park.
Peter Fleischer's in the newsroom right now. Peter, what are you hearing right now?
Russ, Christie, forget the debate and amendments that we saw today. And boy, we saw a lot of them, 4 hours in fact. But this move, the Browns out to Brook Park, would be months in the making. Senators who support the Browns relocating out to Brook Park have made it clear this is a business decision.
What do you think $20 billion buys you, the U.S. taxpayer? It could be almost a full year of funding for NASA. It could be 2 years of funding for the Environmental Protection Agency. It could be several months of food stamps for the millions of people who are about to lose them thanks to the government shutdown. Or it could buy you an election 5,000 miles away here in Argentina. That's what the Trump administration did with the currency swap to bail out the Argentinian peso to the tune of $20 billion in U.S. taxpayer money straight from the U.S. Treasury. And this is extremely unusual. The last time something like this happened was more than 30 years ago, and there's no clear economic reason for it. The economy here in Argentina could tank. In fact, it has tanked many times with absolutely no economic consequences for the U.S. So why did we spend this money in this way precisely during a time when in the United States so many things are getting slashed and cut and shut down? There's actually a very clear answer, and the answer is politics. The president here is a guy named Javier Milei, and he's a crude and eccentric television personality. He's a far-right populist. He's all about aggressive cuts to public spending and aggressive deregulation. I mean, this guy was bounding across stages with a chainsaw in his hands well before Elon Musk was doing it. So when Trump was bailing out the peso, what he was actually doing was bailing out his friend and ally, Javier Milei. Because on Sunday, there were legislative elections here, midterm elections, that were crucial for Milei's political survival. And in the run-up to those elections, he was in pretty bad shape. The economy is not doing well, there's widespread discontent, and crucially, the peso was going down fast up until the US Treasury intervened with those $20 billion. So the question now is, was that money worth it? Well, for Javier Milei, yeah, pretty much. He was able to hold on to enough seats in Congress to gobble together a coalition to continue pushing his agenda through. But was the money worth it for you, the US taxpayer? More worth it than NASA or the EPA or food stamps? I leave that up to you to decide.
Hey, so you got to ask yourself, is it worth it? You work 20, 30, 40 years. What do you have to show for it? Nothing. Will you get your Social Security? Who knows? Is it worth it? You work hard, your money go overseas to fund another country. You can buy basic goods at your local grocery store or your local Walmart. You're priced out. Is it worth it? Do your politicians care? No. They're getting paid every week, regardless. They're getting paid by special interest groups, AIPAC. Those people that's in the House and in the Senate are millionaires. If you looked in their bank account when they first started, $32.15. Walk out of office, $55 million. Michael Jackson made a statement. He said they don't give a damn about us. They don't care. Let's go to the next clip about your favorite, AIPAC, Israel.
Israel's response in Gaza to the Hamas attacks has led to protests across the U.S. demanding a ceasefire, with many calling for an end to U.S. military aid to Israel.
If you want my money, you better listen to me.
The U.S. provides about $3.8 billion in aid to Israel every year, and since World War II, the U.S. has provided more foreign aid to Israel than any other country. But today, there are increasingly vocal calls for more scrutiny of that aid from the left wing of the Democratic Party, including threats to scuttle Biden's request for $14.3 billion in additional assistance to Israel.
It's changing the nature of the discussion now. It was once frowned upon to criticize Israel publicly, and now you're seeing more and more that people are doing so, and those calls are getting louder and louder.
Again, they can find money for wars, but the thing is, they're not going to concern themselves with the poor. I think even after Bernie Sanders made that statement, I think he changed his tune. See, because money talks. People can say anything they want to say, but it's going to boil down to money. They offer you a handful of dollars, you change your tune immediately. So therefore, we all know nothing is going to change. If you ever want change to take place, you got to do it yourself, because they're not going to do it. The final clip, Venezuela. The big bad bully has decided to go over to Venezuela. Now, any person with common sense, 3rd, 4th grade education, knowing Venezuela have a bunch of oil, as a matter of fact, the most in the whole world, they're going over there for regime change. I don't like the leader you have in office, because our corporations can't go over there and steal your resources, mainly oil. So if I can put a puppet leader in office and he or she will do exactly what I tell them to do, if not, we'll just have a regime change. And guess what? In their minds, there's nothing you can do about it. We'll see about that. My final clip.
Breaking news. Over 15,000 U.S. Marines have now arrived near Venezuela. And what's happening in the Caribbean looks like the biggest military buildup since Iraq. Right now, Trinidad and Tobago, just off Venezuela's coast, has turned into a full-blown military zone. Fresh U.S. troops are landing, a new naval fleet has joined the region, and reports say hidden aircraft, possibly bombers, are being stationed nearby. Meanwhile, the airspace above Puerto Rico has been completely shut down under national defense protocol. And this, it's no ordinary runway. It's a hot fuel strip, meaning fighter jets can refuel without ever shutting their engines off, ready for instant missions. But here's where it gets even more serious. GPS interference off Venezuela is now at an all-time high. 2 U.S. aircraft carriers are already in position, and a 3rd one is on the way. In the skies, B-1 and B-2 bombers are moving closer, forming what experts call one of the largest strike packages since World War II. Still, despite this massive buildup, both Trump and Marco Rubio insist there is no plan to attack Venezuela. But with 10 million Venezuelan reservists reportedly ready to defend their homeland, many believe we're standing at the edge of something far bigger than anyone's admitting. Follow now for real-time updates